Right, y'all.
Cool. Let's get 80 minutes away.
Yeah. So if I go, right back at the start there, we're rolling the chest out. You look retarded with the bar, but angling it at a certain angle and rolling it down the front of your chest is actual genius for like muscle fascia release, as well as getting like a shoulder stretch, and it kind of feels the best. It's one of the best stretches that I do before bench, and I've got a couple people on it, and like we're just doing it like all the time, and I actually froth it. Yeah. Just see Dill there.
Struggling.
Having the best time. So this is probably a good part to take note on. If you read our article that we wrote on thoracic mobility, what is thoracic mobility?
It's pretty much how much we can move thoracic spine, which is like where our rib cage and all that comes off of, and we need it for like overhead lifting and just day-to-day health. And if we're going to reach above our heads, or especially any pushing and pulling movements, we need enough mobility in there.
Yeah.
Just to be able to move well, and so we're not doing like compensation movements side of things.
Yeah, and where I think thoracic mobility comes real handy is for building a big chest, because if you're mobile and your chest kind of sticks out like this, which you can see in the video, when like my chest comes up and my shoulders come back, I've got like a longer range of motion because I've got a pretty flexible thoracic spine. And if you increase your thoracic spine, or you're real good in that position, you're basically going to have more range of motion when you're doing chest. Originally, you'll probably start lifting a little bit lighter, but the squeeze is like a lot more intense, and you can just like feel it like come down and push right up, which is real.
And notice with the video how Corey's coming down, but he's not bouncing the bar off of his chest or anything. He's coming just before his chest and then driving back up.
Yeah. Yeah, stopping right at there, stopping like right above the chest, so that's basically allowing the full range of motion to come completely down. A lot of people won't like, I guess, tell you that when you talk about bench press, but like we think it's extremely important, especially if like you want to grow a big chest, man. Yeah. Another part, if I stop here as well, just on bench press technique, you can see that from, sorry, get close to your face, you can see that from my arm, my shoulder girdle, how it comes down from to my elbow into my shoulder, that this is kept as a right angle. You can see that on the video. And my shoulders are kept not completely to the side like this, as if I'm shoulder pressing. My elbows are forward just a little bit. And I think that's like really healthy to not put too much stress like on the top range part of your shoulder and chest there, and the force is kept right on the muscle, as well as squeezing the bar really tight, keeping everything locked in, including that thoracic like mobility, so your chest stays right up. There's probably another bit that we didn't see, but on this image that you can see here, if we put it up, you can see that my rib cage is coming up really high off of the bench. My ass isn't coming off the bench, but my rib cage is high. But it's not so much putting it high, it's keeping it up kind of towards your chin. And that's like pushing your thoracic forward. The bench is coming down, which is just increasing that range of motion between your shoulder and like your nipple. And that's where I think the
most optimal squeeze.
Optimal squeeze, yeah. And just as a note, we were wrecked after this session as well. Yeah. I think as you can see on when Dylan's lifting, like his form's perfect, but like his because you got like sore shoulders or something, like the flexibility isn't there, like he's not as flexible in the thoracic, but he's still pushing his chest up, getting his shoulders back, and all of the focus is on his chest muscle, which is best. Yeah,
for sure.
So now on decline, I'm still keeping it heavy. I'm literally doing the exact same thing. My ass comes off the bench here as I'm taking it off, which is not good. But I immediately put it back down. But we're just really focusing on the exact same thing, except pushing the bar down instead of straight up.
And what's important to note here is when he is pushing the bar, he's still pushing it vertically. So that can be something that you might not be used to, or someone correct when you first do it.
Yeah.
To make sure you are pushing it completely vertical, because I know the first time I did this, I ended up pushing the bar outwards a bit. But it's important to keep it
like this. Yeah, you want to keep it on the bench press, on the decline, you want to kind of push it down, which keeps it vertical. Now this is probably a good spot just to notice, like here, Dylan doing the incline dumbbell press. What we try to say is, again, when you're in the incline, keep your chest up. And here, the reason you keep your chest up is because if your shoulders come a little bit forward over your chest, you're working your shoulders, not your chest. And if you see here, on this bit here, Dylan's shoulders are just a little bit in front of his chest, but we called that out and changed it to keep his, thoracic in the best position and his chest up high, so that
really focusing on that chest squeeze rather than the shoulder.
Yeah,
and exactly. I naturally, I've always sort of had to be wary of not using my shoulders because I'm quite shoulder dominant when I train chest. And when I first started gym, didn't really pay much attention to it. And then as time goes on, I've sort of come around and been like, all right, really need to focus on the squeeze for the chest, trying to keep those shoulders back. So in some of the video, you see me really putting a lot of focus on getting that chest up, getting my scapula back, and making sure my chest is in the most optimal position to do those exercises.
And on this incline bench press too, we go like full stretch. We're not coming like our hands coming here and just coming up to get a pump, because we've just done like two heavy exercises. We find like getting like a full stretch for the incline, elbows a little bit forward, chest up as high as possible, dumbbells coming down as far as possible, getting like a stretch and squeezing from there isn't going to completely just shorten your muscle as far as like exercises go.
Yeah.
It's going to increase your muscle size from its full range of motion, which gives you a more full looking muscle, and like your ability, if you're training chest regularly, your ability and flexibility and mobility in chest is going to be a lot longer, and it will eventually be a lot stronger, and it's a lot less likely to give you like to roll over forward over like a long period of time, like your shoulders coming over your chest when you're staying like that. So I find doing one stretch exercise on a chest or a push day like this with an incline is just what's helped me heaps, I think, as far as like creating my own physique, and like it might work for like you as well. And like, so this here, we did a giant set. We did like pull downs, straight into dips, straight into pullovers, and you'll see a couple of things that we're doing here, which we thought were we kind of add in just to extra pump you up, I guess. Notice here as well, I'm trying not to come up on this tricep pull down. I'm trying not to come up past 90 degrees on the rep, and I'm trying not to keep it just below 90. I'm trying to come right at 90 degrees. That's like the ultimate, I guess, position for your tricep, isn't it? Squeeze, because if you're coming up, then you're using other parts.
We'd still be using your tricep, but I think when people come up a bit too far, they just end up bringing their elbows forward, and then you're having to get that sort of row momentum through. And if you're bringing your elbows forward, shoulders come forward, that's not really optimal for your shoulder positioning for that exercise. So we can give our chest forward enough that we're just focusing on our tries and sort of isolating. You should be able to pretty much picture a rod going through your elbow, and your elbow is pretty stationary while you're doing that. Probably the best way that I've found to sort of really isolate the tries in that movement.
Actually not bad. Struggle down there.
Big strain.
Alright, so what I'm doing with those swingy push down things that I'm doing on the tricep push down is I'm completely spotting myself to get the bar down. Then I stand close to the machine and let the bar slowly come up, just as for like an eccentric contraction. I've done them from the start, I guess, of gym. I just kind of made it up one time, and I completely rate those as to why like any tricep growth that I've ever got has come from doing those eccentric kind of reps. Okay, so this exercise that you're watching now is called head under bars. For the first few reps of the exercise, you're dipping your whole body down and letting like your arm come completely over your head, and like you kind of feel a stretch in your lats, and that's where you push from your triceps.
Just trying to like get pretty much your head as far under the bar as possible while still holding onto the bar. And you'll feel a stretch straight pretty much through here, and then from there you got your tricep in a really lengthened position. And then from there, pushing all through with the trying to straighten out, bringing your head back under the bar, feel a ridiculous squeeze.
And as you start to fatigue, you go from head being under the bar all the way here, you come closer, and then you just bring the top of your head to the bar, and then to the point where you're standing up above the bar and you're just pointing on top. So it's like a complete fatigue from like this position, from this position, and then from this position. Doing this at the end of a workout is like Arnold Lee Priest style kind of training, and it just like ruins your tries. I may look like a dickhead here at the moment, but I do that before every single chest sesh, get something into there to like just release any kind of, if my muscles are like cramped or knotty at all. By doing that, I'm releasing them a bit, so that, but releasing them before I do like bench press, which is a really heavy kind of squeeze exercise. And again, I like solely think that this is like one reason that the past 2 years I haven't got any chest injuries, because I do this every time before.
Just getting enough blood flow along with like your normal warm up, like warming up in the bar and those sort of things, getting blood flow to the area, so then we're not tight and we're not too cold or anything before we start the exercise. So ideal.
Straight up. So just want to say thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this YouTube video. If you have any recommendations, leave some comments or anything below. Let us know like how we're going. This is the first one that we've tried. We want to give you the most value as possible. I myself becoming a professional WBFF athlete, kind of find all of these body movements and exercises, just these little tips and tricks out of intuition. And Dylan, by being like a master of physiotherapy and studying and working his ass off to know how all of this works properly, can really put the science to the intuition that we've done. And if you like kind of how we train, our style, and vibe with us, please try some of it and let us know how you go with it. Let us know if it works for you, because if it does, like, that'll just absolutely make our day.
And if you have any questions about like certain exercises or anything that you're not too sure about, let us know, because we'll provide some content for that shit.
Thanks again.